Then we move on to basic data exploration. So we basically begin by basically doing df is equal to pandas.read CSV, the train CSV. We load the first four rows, the first five rows. Then we basically find out which are like have like all the null columns, which have like missing data values. As from this data, we can tell that age, cabin, and mark have like pretty like have significant amount of the data missing. Then eventually we do df dot describe. That basically shows like all the basically gives out all the information such as count, how many things there are, the uniqueness, top, frequency, mean, standard deviation, minimum, 25 percentile, 50 percentile, 75 percentile, and maximum for each category of all the data. So yeah. Then we move on to basically doing a correlation matrix by basically importing matplotlib.matplot as PLT, and then importing Seaborn. So this the numeric diff equal to df.select d types include float 64 and int 65. What basically does is it creates a new data frame called like numeric df that only contains the numeric columns from the original data frame df. Basically, this is done to because correlation analysis can be only done on like numeric data, and this step basically filters out like categorical columns such as like for example name, sex, ticket that will like cause like errors in a correlation calculation. So yeah. Then afterwards then we plot the thing. Then we do correlation is equal to numeric df dot correlation. This basically finds the correlation coefficients between the all the numeric columns in the numeric df over here, and this basically produces like a matrix of values between like -1 and 1, basically showing how strong each of the pair of variables is related. Afterward, we use Seaborn to like make the heat map. Then we title in, then we plot it. So from this correlation matrix, you can tell that like for example, a person's age is like these are the diagonal line. So you can tell like if it's like hotter. So like for example, the parch is like there's a high correlation between the parch and the Ziblisby, and then the Ziblisby and the parch. However, there's like a low correlation between the P class and the fair. So yeah. Then we move on to basically displaying all the counts for like the categorical features. Basically, then we say the cats column is equal to df select columns. Basically, this all it does is basically creates like a list of column names by only selecting the columns with the data type. It's typically usually strings from the data frame. This is basically done to like automatically like identify the categorical variables without manually listing them. And in the Titanic dataset, that would be like columns such as like the name, the ticket, the cabin, and the embarks. Those are like some examples. Then we move on to like a for loop for call and cat calls. This basically starts a loop that iterates through each of the categorical columns mentioned. Then this basically prints out the current column being analyzed. It counts like all the occurrence of each of the unique variables, and then this one basically calculates like and it prints the total number of unique variables in the current column. So for example, let's look at the ticket. These are the ticket column, the ticket value counts, how many of the variables, the unique variables there are, like the unique variables over here, the each number of categorical variables. So yeah.